Megillas Rus. Okay. Megillas Rus on Shavuos. Okay. Now, the key question is why? Okay, why Rus on Shavuos? Okay, let me hear from you guys and let me see if we're on the same page or not. Okay, anybody
we all became Jews.
Good. Gay Rus. That's
Rus.
number one, which is why I'm doing Gay Rus Thursday night, all night long. Okay, good. Next, what besides Gay Rus, what else? Come on.
Happened during that period of time of the year.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Good. We see, I like that. We see the perpetuation, the living of the halachos that take place during the time of the agricultural mitzvos that the Jew is to leave, right, in the field. And, right, and we see very simply that when Rus comes back to Eretz Yisrael with Naomi, she is able to go into the field and just collect, because Leket, Shikha, and Peah, which are the agricultural laws which apply to Eretz Yisrael, were in effect. And so therefore you don't have to know anybody. You can just walk into a field and take that which has fallen down. Wonderful. Good. Give me another reason. So far we're 2 for 2.
And the Hashgacha Pratis that brought this all together, the Rus and Boaz and Malchus Beis David, and I mean, just everything falling into place.
Okay, so everything falling into place, I agree with everything you said, David, but we're just going to make it a little bit sharper, and that is as follows. In reality, the essence of, come on, okay, I apologize, and I'm just so frustrated. Okay, here we go. The focus of today's shiur is going to be the pasuk in Devarim. So I was hoping to be able to show it to you, but you're going to have to take out your chumash, the famous pasuk which tells us in Parshas Kiseitse. Can you hear me, Mendy?
Yes, Rabbi, you're good.
Good. Okay, thank you. The pasuk in Kiseitse, which teaches that who cannot come into Klal Yisrael, and that which the pasuk says, Lo yavo amoni umoavi b'kal Hashem, that a descendant of the nation, this is in Art Scroll 1054, chapter 23, in Devarim, Pasuk 4, V'yavo Ammonim Ovi B'kal Hashem. A person from Ammon or Moab shall not enter the congregation of Hashem. So now the question is, listen carefully, we're going to get to the punchline right now. How many Torah do we have? And the answer is, we know 2. So if you want to know in one paragraph why we read the book of Rus on Shavuos, Shavuos is the time of Kabbalas HaTorah. Good, with that we all agree. Zman Matan Torah Seinu. So the question is, how many Torah, David Robin, did we accept on Shavuos? And the answer to that question is, my friend, 2. What does that mean? We accepted the written Torah and we accepted the oral Torah, because the written Torah makes no distinction between a male or a female from Ammon and Moab. It's only the oral Torah, which, given that it is written Ammoni and not Ammonis, Moavi and not Moab, Moaviyah, so that is what, forgive me, saved the day. So let's work backwards. I want you to turn, everybody, to Tehillim 119. Now, Tehillim 119, everybody, goes in alphabetic order, right? 8 psukim of Aleph, Beis, etc. I'm on the computer. Give me a share. How can I help?
I'll explain later.
Okay, thank you so much.
Chevy?
Okay. You with me? Good. So listen carefully. Let's go to 119
I hope nothing serious.
and hold on a second.
Did you eat already?
What?
Your eggs?
Tehillim 119. Got it. Okay, now let's go to Pasuk 161. Now this is very sharp. Okay, this is King David talking, a little bit biographical. This is the brilliant understanding of the Vilna Gaon in these 2 psukim. All right, so again, this is on the midterm. Tehillim 119, verse 161, 162. Here we go. King David, crying on our shoulders. And what does he say? Sorim ridafuni chinam. Literally, princes, Asar is a prince, but it's not simply a prince. It means that the important people, ridafuni, have pursued me chinam, unnecessarily. They've run after me and they've shepherded me and they've given me a hard time for no reason. Umidvarcha pachad libi, and from your dibur, from your words, pachad libi, my heart has feared. Okay, now watch. If you see this inside, it's going to make a big, big difference. The next pasuk says, David, Sasanochi al imrasecha, I rejoice over your word. Sos is to be happy. Sasanochi, like sason v'simcha. Sasanochi al imrasecha, I rejoice over your word. Kimotze shalom rav, like one who finds abundant spoils. Now, what in the world is going on here? So listen carefully. The first pasuk, 161, talks about midvarcha, your written word, right? Your dibur, the dibur of Hashem. The dibur of Hashem of Vayavo Amoni Umo Avi, right? Because Hashem has given me a hard time. they pursued me and they said, wait a minute, David, you might be a nice guy, but you're not worthy to come into the Jewish people. And because why? Your grandma was, great-grandma was Rus, and Rus was not permitted to come in. So therefore, as her acceptance into Israel was a faulty, shaky, illegitimate conversion, because you can't allow someone from Ammon and Moab into the Jewish people. So you, a great-grandson, David, cannot be the king of Israel. So this is what they shepherded and ran after David, pursued him. However, that's the first pasuk. Sasanochi, I am relieved, I am happy. Al imrasecha. Imrasecha is the Amira, the oral tradition. The oral tradition or the oral Torah is, come on, that it's to be understood male and not female. Whoa. Okay. So that is, in essence, the book of Rus that we are accepting on Shavuos, not just the, the oral Torah, the written Torah, but the oral Torah as well. And that's why maybe interestingly, whereas all the other holidays, every one, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Pesach, Sukkot, everyone is identified in the Torah by a date, okay? First day of the 7th month, 10th day of the 7th month, 15th day of the 7th month. All those are giving us an exact date of when the various holidays are, all except for Shavuos. Now, you're going to say it's coincidental. I have no problem if anybody thinks that it's coincidental. But many think that it's not coincidental. And once again, what do you have? So when we are completing, thank God, in the next few days, Sfiras HaOmer, and Mitzvah Hashem, next year, we should have the real thing. And what's the real thing? The Korban Omer on the second day of Pesach. But the Torah doesn't say to bring it on the second day of Pesach. Oh, yes, it does. The Torah says, Mimochros HaShabbos, right? That the Korban Omer is to be brought on the morrow of the quote-unquote rest day. Now, does it mean Shabbos? And that's what the Tzdukim said. So the Tzdukim said that Shavuos every year is going to be on a Sunday, as if to say Moshe was good to us and gave us a long weekend. But we believe, that Mochros HaShabbos means the morrow after Shabbos, after the first day of Pesach. Pesach itself is called a Shabbos. And that's why, perhaps, interestingly, the Shabbos before Pesach is called Shabbos HaGadol, because that week there are two Shabbosos, the real Shabbos, Thursday, Friday Shabbos, and the first day of Pesach is called a Shabbos. So,
Rabbi,
yes.
how do they know which Shabbat the Torah is talking about?
Very nice, very nice. Okay. When the Torah says that you are, no, Booby, wait a second. How do you know which Shabbos? It has to be the second one, because otherwise we'd be talking about, Sunday. The whole idea is that the Torah, uses that, the use of the word, right? Mochros HaShabbos, number one. And then it's probably going to boil down to the exact point of this morning, which is to Torah. In other words, when the Torah says that an eye for an eye. So yes, you're going to argue with me that if a person partially, God forbid, blinded somebody, so we don't have the mechanism of doing that and partially blinding a person so that we are not going beyond, doing less. We don't have that obvious, quote, ability to do to this person. But on the surface, eye for eye means what a person did, we do to him. And we don't take that, in a very literal sense. We know that from day one. So we believe that when God gave Moshe the Torah, he gave him a whole understanding, and there's so many, as we know, be it how many walls the sukkah has to have, be it that there's an esrog, which is not written in the Torah, that there are so many aspects of the oral law which which govern us and which are, quote unquote, non-negotiable. So this is one of those non-negotiable, points. Now, the reality is, let me show you something, my friends. If you take out the book of Rus, so basically, until we go further on that, Nathan, I'm going to tell you that it is, the Masorah, okay, that this, is what our rabbis teach us, clear. But take out, listen carefully. That's why I was hoping that I'd be able to do that share screen. Not yet. Okay, so listen carefully. Chapter 3 of the book of Rus. There are 4 chapters. Chapter 3 talks about the idea of a goel, right? What does that mean? It means that, just 1 second. Okay. Naomi sends Rus to propose to Boaz, right? Which is what she does in chapter 3. Okay, now, 1 second.
You have any appointments today, Shirley?
Excuse
You
me,
have to,
What?
what's going on here with this thing called Goel? So, if I'm not mistaken, there is 2 different explanations to the term Goel, right? Now, yeah. We are I'm on page 1271, 3rd chapter of Rus, and she startles him in the middle of the night. Towards the bottom of page 1271, verse 9. Vayomer mi'ot, who are you? And Vatomer Anochi Rus Amosecha, Uforasta Kinofecha Al Amosecha. Literally, she's proposing. And this is where, interesting, the idea of a chuppah, and some actually use a talus to spread your robe. And some, like I said, use the talus literally over the chassan and kala. Ki go'el ota. Now, what does that mean, go'el? So there are 2 interpretations of go'el. Now, whether go'el means the idea of Ibum. Okay, now what's that? We know in Parshas Kiseitse, the Torah tells us that if a man dies without children, a surviving brother, and if there are more than one, then the older one has the first opportunity to live with his sister-in-law, okay? And the idea is that the Torah says, oh, wait a second. Now this is another one of those wow. Torah she ba'al peh. Wow. All right. Listen carefully. If today we're focusing on the Torah Shabbat Peh, let's take a look at that pasuk before we come back to Rus. Now, go to page 1262 at the bottom. Torah says if two brothers are living and one dies without any children, so Yivamah, top line of 1064, the surviving brother shall live with his sister-in-law, okay? And this is only if they don't have children. If they do have children, he's not allowed to. It's a prohibition from the Torah. So so now, and then what does the next pasuk say? And the child, the firstborn that comes from that union between the widow and her brother-in-law, Yokum al Shem al Chibames. That child, so at first glance, what does it mean? That child shall, as our scroll says, shall succeed to the name of his dead brother. Excuse me, what does that mean? Shall succeed to the name of the dead brother. So at first glance, it means very simple. There were two brothers, Reuven and Shimon. Reuven passed away. Shimon marries his sister-in-law, Reuven's wife. Mazel tov, they have a baby boy. I'm not going to the bris. I know what the name is. No, you don't. The Torah says the name. So the name could be Chaim. The name could be Simcha. It could be any name. It doesn't have to be Reuven. So listen carefully. So look at the Rashi, third line down. It doesn't mean, as you and I thought a minute ago, that he carries the name, but look at Rashi, Zeh sheyi bemes ishto, Shimon, who marries Leah, who was Reuven's wife, Yitol takes Nachlas Hameis benichse Oviv. Let's go. Now this is pshat, pasuk pshat in the pasuk. Nathan, you could read the pasuk 100 times. This is not the conclusion you and I are going to come. There's the written law and the oral law. So the written law says that the child is called Reuven, and the oral law says that when their father, Reuven and Shimon's father, subsequently dies, and now let's say there are 4 sons, okay? There were 5 and now there are 4 left, okay? So we need the state, okay? And let's assume that the oldest one is a girl, so we don't get involved in the problem of the Bechor, okay? So what do we have? We have 4 sons, okay? And if there, like I said, if there were 5 originally, so we divided into 5, and Shimon, the one who did the Yibum, gets 2 portions, his own and that which belonged to his brother. So it has nothing to do with the literal name, that the child is called Reuven, but it has to do with inheritance. So listen carefully. The Torah says that the brother, okay, that she shouldn't put, rather, Yivamo Yavo Aleha, we're talking about the brother, a succeeding brother. The Ramban in Parshas Vayeshev teaches us that it was practice among the people already in the days of Yehuda. Come on, because what happened? Yehuda had, remember, 3 sons. Er, and Er is married to Tamar. Er dies without children. Onan dies without children. So Yehuda is supposed to give Tamar Shelah, the 3rd son. He does not. For whatever the reason, whether he's afraid that Shelah too would die if he were to marry Tamar, whatever the reason, he doesn't give Shelah. So now Tamar has been waiting for a husband, and she's not looking to, quote, the outside world for a husband. She's waiting for that brother. And what does she do? She pretends to be a prostitute. Yehuda, the father. So now we don't have a brother, but we have the father doing it. Doing what? Yibum. So it's not literally Yibum, because Yibum, by definition, is with a brother, but here it's being done with a relative. So now watch this. Rus is coming to Boaz, and she's saying to Boaz, Mr. Boaz, here is your chance to do Yibum for your cousin, right? Machlon. Rus was married to Machlon. Now you can perform the mitzvah of Yibum by marrying me, okay? So watch. When she proposes marriage in this form, so what does Boaz say to her? Okay, watch. So he says in verse 10, Brucha at, back on page 1271, Brucha at Lashem. Blessed are you, God, to God. BT, Heitaft, Chazdech, Ho'acharon, this kindness that you are doing is even greater from the first. Now, what was the first? That you left home and you've stayed with Naomi, you're becoming Jewish, fantastic. But now, instead of going after a young man, somewhat your age, no, you're coming to an old man named Boaz in order to fulfill, wow, the extended understanding of Yibum. So watch this. That's what he says. That Levilti lechas acharei abachurim, you're not going after the younger man, whether he's rich or poor, etc. But now, what does he say? Yud base, 3 lines up from the bottom. Ki omnam goel anochi. Yes, I am a relative. However, there's a relative that's closer, an uncle, as opposed to a cousin. Therefore, lini alayla, wait, and in the morning, I will take, quote, care of it. If the gentleman who our rabbis say name was Tov, im yigalech Tov yigal, but Tov was not Tov, meaning he didn't do his homework, as we'll see in a moment. And if he doesn't want to, quote, redeem you, if he doesn't want to do the Yibum, then I will do it, Chai Hashem, and therefore I'll be there 5 minutes, Shev, Shichvi ad haboker. Lie down and just wait until the morning. Okay, now, hold on, I'll be right back. Let me just get to Chevy for 1 minute. Just 1 second. Okay, so now watch. Sorry. So here we go. Now, in the beginning of chapter 4, Boaz 1272, 4. Boaz, meanwhile, had gone up to the gate, all right, which is the town square, what do they call it on Fairlawn Avenue, municipal building, okay, and he sat there. Just then, the Redeemer, of whom Boaz had spoken by, passed by. Who's that? That's the uncle, that's Tov. And he said, come over, sit down here, Ploni Almoni. Okay, so interesting that we're not even given his name. Ploni Almoni literally means so-and-so, because unfortunately, this gentleman does not rise to the occasion. Vayasar Vayeshe. He came and he sat down. And watch this. This is a very famous pasuk. He took 10 men. This, my friends, you should know, is the origin that you need a minyan for a wedding. Hershon asks, wait a second, why a minyan? We're not davening at a wedding, okay? It's preferable to have, let's say, separate seating, but it's not something you should really carry on about if it's not going to be, because it's not really a minyan, okay? But the minyan is there for the purpose of, number one, here, to publicize, as we're going to see in a moment, the halacha of the male and not the female, which you're going to see in the moment. That's going to be the issue. But from then on, we do require a minyan at a wedding. Watch. And Vayomer LaGoel, and he said to the Goel, pasuk 3, Chelkas HaSodeh, the parcel of land which belonged to Elimelech, and then to Machlon, Machra Naomi, okay, is being offered for sale by Naomi, who has returned from the fields of Moab. Now, I am telling you, buy it in the presence of those here, good, and listen carefully now. But there's one thing that goes with it, okay? Verse 5, the day you buy the field from Naomi, you must also buy it from Ruth, all right? And to perpetuate, as you can see, Lahakim, where is this? Pasuk 5, good. Lahakim Shem Hames al Nachalaso, the exact phrase which I showed you before, which once again does not mean that we call the child Machlon, because that's not the child's name, as we're going to see, right? That Boaz called the child Oved, Ayin Vav, Vez Daled, and not Machlon, but it means, as related to the inheritance, that you get the portion of. So watch this. Vayomer HaGoel, here's homework. The Goel, potential redeemer, the uncle, said, Lo uchal ligoli, I can't do it. Why? Pen ashchis es nachalosi, lest I imperil my own inheritance. And what does that mean? So Rashi tells us on the spot, lest I ruin it for my children. Oh, how's he going to ruin it for his children? He's going to ruin it for his children because he is of the opinion, the Goel, the uncle, that Rus cannot come into Klal Yisrael. Because of that pasuk. So basically, either you're going to say he was ignorant and he didn't, or he did not accept, which shows us that at this time in Jewish history, there was still some controversy over the interpretation of that pasuk, which is really the fulcrum of this whole discussion, as who can and cannot come in, is it only a male or even the female? And therefore, ultimately, we know that Boaz and his interpretation wins out, and therefore, David Melech Yisrael Chai v'Kayom, so that we do have the legitimacy of King David. So, why is the book of Rus written down? Number one, Torah Shebaal Peh. Number two, King David. And the idea is that Shavuos is the yahrzeit of David HaMelech, and the book of Rus, according to the Gemara in Baba Basra, page 14b, was written by Shmuel Hanavi. So Shmuel is the one who anointed King David, and therefore to perpetuate his legitimacy, he's the one who authored the book, and this is a exceedingly important part of Shavuos, that we're not only accepting the 10 Commandments, which was given on Shavuos, but we're accepting the oral law as well. So remember those two psukim from Tehillim 119, 161, and 162. Those two psukim are the ones that the Vilna Gaon sees as hinting at this whole shiur having to do with David was Rabbi Ridafuni Chino, that many pursued me for really no good reason based upon the written law, but Sassanot, I am happy for the oral law. Okay, so thank you for joining, and we now have one more important understanding of the book of Rus, and one of these days I will even get the share screen. I'm patient. Okay, but thanks for your patience. Have a good day, everybody. Looking forward. Now, listen, if you can take a nap on Thursday afternoon and join us, you do get a coffee break from 2 to 2:15. And by all means, if you want to keep your coffee with you all night, I'm an easy guy. Hopefully, whatever you can join us for, I hope will be enjoyable. It's a very rich and important topic, because it's something not only that we all went through conversion at Sinai, but that really the exciting part is to see how when every convert does convert, it is for them to be a reenactment of Har Sinai. Okay, have a wonderful day, everybody. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi. God.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Good to see you, Miriam. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
Elijah Chevy.